G'day traders, working to wrap up of Monday the 14th of May. On the daily chart, here's the candle we're looking at here, so you can see, it's definitely a red candle, a candle that's pushing down, and basically the candle looked very similar to this by the time we're opening up the cash market. We were starting to really push below these support levels here. Basically we opened up at a 3-month low, and the next sort of resistance or support area I should say, it was over here. So it's the type of day where if the market really wanted to, it could push down. There's nothing really in the short term limiting it from falling. It also gapped, so when we opened Monday it gapped down a couple of points, which is a fairly good sign. Sellers around. The only thing, and this kind of caught us out a little bit last week, was in the pre-market, and let me show you, we did have a fair bit of a sell-off. So, in the back of your mind, you just got to wonder, have the sellers kind of done their dash, and is there a bounce coming from the buyers before heading back down? And I think that's exactly what happened. Just to show you overall, day before we look at it, we pushed down, popped up. So this sort of first pullback area here, which going with the dailies, seems like a fairly logical area to go for. And you can see, but today it was a lose. It was with the dailies, so overall puts us about 2 from 4 of these signals. This first pullback of the trend. From there we pushed up higher, and then the sellers came. So I knew eventually the sellers were going to come, because it is a seller's market, and it wasn't a day where the buyers were going to have it all their way. But they certainly did get the bounce, and then the sellers came later on. So just to break it down, it was kind of, this downtrend wasn't really strong. Look at the 1 minute chart over here. It's coming back, and the upper power points are holding, which is a good signal for the downside. But it's not like it's pushing with any sort of power on the downside. Then we popped up. So the end of this candle here is where you look at the first pullback on the 5 minute charts. So from interest sakes, we're recording that 2 from 4 at the moment. From there we pushed higher. Here we started to push down again. So we kind of looked like we might have been topping out. A 5 minute sell was looking like forming. The other markets were holding to the downside. So there's a fair bit of evidence that maybe that was the bounce and was going to start to push down, but quickly that turned around. You can see we've got these really strong candles pushing up here, and we easily broke up through the cash market highs. From there it looked like these buyers had a bit of strength, and certainly a time to go with them for the moment, and expecting maybe some sellers to come in the afternoon. So for the morning session they continued to try and push up. Again, this area here is so this is a new trend, looking for the first pullback of the new trend. So this is where it would have been triggered here. Bit of a funny signal, but it's gone a couple of points and then it's pushed back down, and then my belief was this area was potentially where it was going to start heading down from. And you can see it's got a long way to head down and plenty of room on the downside. From there we popped back up and broke again a little bit higher. Not much higher, certainly wasn't a massive breakout, but pushed higher, then came back down. Once we started pushing down here and approaching these support levels here, it became quite evident that the market was certainly heading on the downside. Something like this, you look for a bit of a bounce and then to go again, and that's a real confirmation that the area is going to go. Sometimes, as has happened here, it doesn't sort of get a bounce and just pushes straight on through. When we're pushing down like this, so here's the sellers we were expecting, and we're breaking down through support levels. It's quite evident that it's going to try and get down to these cash market lows, which it did get to. So even as it's pushing down here, really looking for any sort of thing to get on the sell side. And again, we've got this trend looking for a pullback in this area here. So whether it's on the PowerPoint, which we'll look at soon, or whether it's just the 5 minute charts, it's a solid area, especially if it's going to come back roughly with this sort of come back into this territory here. That's going to hold as resistance and push the market down. So overall, a couple of solid areas. I think that's one of the better areas, certainly of the day, to potentially sell from. Of course, once we're up here, to buy from here, I thought had it was certainly worthwhile. I guess they're the two better areas of the day. Looking at the 1 minute chart, so here's this push down, so we're pushing down through power points, and the upper power points holding. From there we turned. Just bring it back with the 5 minute chart. So it was here that the predictive average crossed up, where it could have possibly held and head back to the downside. Quite often it does, but from there you can see it's popped up again. We've gone through this bit of a sideways period, and then this real streak of the buyers where it showed that they'll definitely here and not to be taken lightly, and that they're going to possibly go on with it from around here. You can see this is a 10-point trend. So like we've been recording, we're looking for that first pullback power point after a 10-point trend. So here it is here. It's worked quite nicely, and it's gone a couple of points easily from that first power point. So again, another winner there. So as far as that first power point after a trend, 10-point trend, it's 3 from 3, so it's working out really well. The second power point after a yellow, you're not getting quite as many at that moment. It's still at 0 from 1. From there, we pushed a little bit higher, and coming out of lunch, we started to push down here. So this is where I thought the sellers were coming in. Then again, we popped up before going down again. So a little bit of a fake move there. We came back down, tested this area here. So this is where it was either going to get a bit of bounce and go, or it was certainly an area where I really believe the sellers were going to possibly go on with it. Here's where we're looking for a potential pullback around here. So the market's obviously pushed lower. These lows here, it had a very high percentage of going there. So if we're looking for some sort of PowerPoint pullback here or something, it's quite a high percentage area in those sort of areas. You'll find will work quite well for you. So keep an eye on that. Once markets break areas, and then look to get on the continuation of that trend. So that's this area here, and then of course this PowerPoint here was another one as far as the upside was concerned. You can see we got basically another 10-point trend on the downside. So if this market had a bit more time, we could look for a pullback power point once it's gone 10 points, which is what we were looking for, but didn't quite have the time to get that done. So there's the results as far as those couple of setups, just for educational purposes that we're following. Overall, not a bad trading day. Two really good directions, some solid areas, also some tricky areas where the market did a few fake moves, which you can certainly learn from. So that's a wrap up for the Monday, and I'll speak to you guys on Tuesday.